Well, the pastor's daughter was in the hospital all the way across the country.
They were desperate to get to her, so they booked an expensive flight over the holidays.
But Southwest Airlines canceled that flight, along with, you remember, 17,000 others after that computer meltdown.
We were devastated. And the most frustrating part is that it was blue skies. All the other airlines were flying and there were seats available and we just could not get there.
Passengers like this family deserve better. That's why today the Senate Commerce Committee hauled Southwest up to Capitol Hill for answers. In that session, we learned some shocking new details about just how bad things got for the company.
So why did this happen? Let me be clear, we messed up.
The COO of Southwest taking full responsibility in front of Congress for flight cancellations over Christmas. He says it started with a bad storm in Denver and Chicago, where 25% of Southwest crew members live.
At this point, the disruption changed from a weather event that all airlines experienced to a crew event that was unique to us.
Southwest says their outdated computer system couldn't keep up with rerouting crew members. In fact, new evidence presented shows Southwest didn't even know who was flying which planes. The ground was texting the cockpit writing, "Schedule is asking to confirm who is operating this flight."
Southwest leadership failed to properly prepare.
The head of the Southwest Pilots Association says it's not the first time the computer systems have had problems.
For years, our pilots have been sounding the alarm about Southwest's inadequate crew scheduling technology and outdated operational processes. Unfortunately, those warnings have been summarily ignored by Southwest leaders.
In the end, about 2 million passengers were left stranded.
It's no exaggeration, with people who had been in the airport for days.
My flight was canceled.
I just want to go home.
We are intensely focused on reducing the risk of repeating the operational disruption we had in December and repairing the trust of our company's had and earned over a 52-year history.
As of tomorrow, Southwest says it's launching an upgrade to its computer system to help fix things. And they're also doing a company-wide audit to look for other possible hidden problems. Senators pressed the COO to say when all of that will be done.
What is the cost of that upgrade that you need to do, and when will it be completed?
We're undergoing the assessment right now. We are doing a top to bottom view of our winter operations, and they'll undoubtedly be in the millions and millions of dollars, but it won't be until probably in March we'll have finished the assessment of exactly how much and where. We already know in Denver and Midway we need substantial upgrades, and we're already pursuing that with the airports.
So Southwest had that major meltdown, but every airline has their share of delayed flights. According to Travel and Leisure, these airlines had the highest percentage of canceled or delayed flights. The third worst was Frontier, with about 30% of their flights impacted. Then JetBlue at 34%. The worst, Allegiant, with 38% of their flights delayed or canceled.
Well, the senators wanted to know one big question today. How can they help fix the airline industry? What laws do they need to change? At the hearing was a leading researcher on the topic. He said if Congress makes new rules, it's probably going to lead to plane tickets costing more.
If I spin through it, I'm going to point out other things that are going to lead to costs. They're going to offset what you see as benefits.
But there was one plan presented. He says airlines from all over the world should be allowed to fly domestic routes to increase competition. To explain why, he compared airlines to the automotive industry.
Imagine the automobile industry, and it does not allow foreign cars to be made or sold in the U.S. No Toyota, no Honda, no Maserati, whatever, right? Make it worse. There are no private dealers. There's only public dealers. And in major metropolitan areas like Minneapolis, Denver, Atlanta, there's only one. Now, this obviously is not a desirable state for the automobile industry, but I've just described the U.S. airline industry.
Some senators have another idea to prevent delays. Forcing airlines to give you a huge check of $3,500 every time you get stuck at the airport. It's part of a newly proposed passenger bill of rights. Chris Van Cleve talked with the senators behind the bill.
The goal is to level the playing field for consumers. They're being ripped off.
Senators Ed Markey and Richard Blumenthal introduced an airline passengers' Bill of Rights aimed at requiring airlines to fairly compensate flyers during airline-caused delays and cancellations. The senators also want to limit fees for bags, seating, as well as for changes or cancellations. This as the Department of Transportation is planning new regulations to prohibit charging for families to sit next to children.
If passengers could receive $1,350 whenever their flight is delayed by 4 hours, I am guaranteeing you there'd be a lot fewer delays.
Airlines for America, the trade group representing most of the nation's carriers, says it is in the interest of all U.S. airlines to provide a positive flight experience for all passengers. The proposed policies in this bill would drastically decrease competition, leading to a subsequent increase in airfare prices. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News.